This week, I go back to my stories here. So I'm reading through, well, it's kind of more skimming through a book called Once Upon a Hesed. This is it's on Chabad.org. Now, Chabad is one of the many branches of Hasidism, and so the lineage starts pretty much with the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov, within two generations, it's kind of split between the Lubavitcher movement and the movement, Rebbe Nachman of Breslov. Rebbe Nachman of Breslov was the actual descendant of the Baal Shem Tov. I'm more inclined to the Baal Shem, the Rebbe Nachman of Breslov. I think it's if you're looking into Hasidic thought and Kabbalah, it's a good place to be for a person who. I think it's a good place to be for a person who came from a Christian background, especially those Christian backgrounds that are more open to esoteric type things, Pentecostals, things like that. So this story is attributed to the Baal Shem Tov through the Lubavitcher, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe. And so he says this is attributed to Exodus 19:20. God descended upon Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain, and God called Moshe to the top of the mountain, and Moshe ascended. If God descended from the supernal heights, couldn't he just come down a few thousand feet further? This is supposedly taken from the Baal Shem Tov. Why trouble a man of 80 years old to climb to the top of a mountain? I know I can't hardly get to my front door without my bones creaking. Imagine climbing a mountain when you're 80 years old. Yet therein lies the essential nature of man's comprehension of Torah. God is infinite and undefinable. Torah is his wisdom and will by definition, ungraspable by the finite mind of man. The notion that human intellect can relate to the divine truth or even meet it halfway is ludicrous. It's only because God gave us the Torah, only because he chose to suspend the line he drew at creation, separating the finite from the infinite, that we can access his communication to man. But the Almighty desired that man's understanding of Torah not be a gift from above, but the result of a combined effort, the issue of a union between the human mind and the mind of God. Man must give it his intellectual all and apply to the utmost the powers invested in his brain of flesh. And when he attains the peak of his finite mountain, there is God with his gift of absolute truth. Okay, so when we speak, when we study the Torah, we are studying the Torah as a collective, collective being the children of Israel, and we're also doing it as a specific soul. And I used to want to kind of put myself and my family into a mold. There was this kind of a romantic, kind of a fictionalized version that I had in my head that would be almost like a acidic kind of thing. And I mean, it was like I envisioned my mind like a ushpazim, and we would go live in a Jewish community and all that. So, but when I've been reading the writings of Rebbe Nachman of Breslov, he kind of comes from a place of a Hillel version of Shammai. Shammai was kind of viewed as this staunch, very legalistic way of thinking. But when you go into the reasoning why he believes that way, it has to do with just what if the worst case scenario. He kind of puts it in that context. And Rabbi Nachman was like, well, let's be a little bit lenient and still push toward observance, right? So what I was getting to is that you listening to this message were put in this specific situation in this specific time period for a specific reason. So the Arizal, he was mentioned today, wonderful blessing and insights that he gives. I don't want to go into the afterworld and his version of the cosmology and what happens, but it's very, very it's more broad than Christianity. And his idea is that for us to finally get to Shemayim, to get into the place where Hashem is, where Hashem is, a lot of traditions around the world have kind of a Greek idea where when we die, we kind of become little gods and we live among the gods. It's not a very Jewish thought. Our Jewish thought is that we're kind of, our realm is the earth, and Hashem kind of, I'm sorry, I apologize. Hashem Hashem put it in the mouth of Yeshua, and he said, those who inherit the earth, right? And so there's this idea that this is our place. The earth is our place where humans, and eventually we'll get somewhere above that, but it's going to take a long time. Okay. So I say that to say that the Arizal says there are 4 levels of Torah understanding. There's the exact Torah. This is referred to as remez, right? So there's each individual more deeper. My wife and I have recently talked about, we came across a Torah teacher, I don't know, 12, 11, 10 years ago. And this guy, he was talking Kabbalah. He was talking about numbers, and he was talking about how to rearrange the Hebrew letters. And he was, and to turn them all upside down. And we had no understanding of what he was talking about. It was like he was speaking a different language. Today, if we probably could listen to those messages, it probably could kind of put into our heart, right? Or you could receive it, okay? That's a lot of times what happens with Kabbalah. A lot of times, maybe a revelation comes to you, and I got to say that revelation in the Jewish context, okay? It may just be for you, or maybe for your family, or for a small group of people. And other people may not be able to receive it. It may sound like gibberish. It might be a time, something for a different time. But the thing is the Arizal expounded, and he said there are, within the Tanakh and within the Jewish writings, Chazal say that there's 70 faces of the Torah. So that the 70 words of Torah went out to, according to Midrash, went out to the entire world. So all the 70 nations received a bit of Torah. So I was born in Dallas, Texas. I was born to specific parents, and when I view the Torah, I can take Chazal and I can take the commentaries, but I still have that specific neshama, that specific soul that is speaking into that. And so the 70 actually get expounded to 4 times 70 is 280, right? So that's a lot of Torah interpretation, okay? So sometimes we're supposed to take the Torah portion. This way we can all come up with different midrash and expounding on the Torah. And a lot of times we want to be right? And that's not necessarily where the Torah is. The Torah is saying, how can you apply this today, right? I spoke to some people earlier in the week and say that our traditions say that we stand for the Torah in the Torah reading when the Aliyah, the sixth Aliyah is given. And so that goes back to we are receiving the Torah today. We are receiving the Torah to the best of our ability that Hashem has given us. And it is up to us to work through that. Today is the day of salvation. Shabbat Shalom.